Well, guys, it's bacon time. Let's bring the boys in and get going here today. You got Brad, TJ joining me tonight. So, well, gentlemen, let's ask you, how are you doing, and what's new with you guys?
Go ahead, Big Dog.
I'm pretty good. I'm tired as hell. It seems just like the past 2 weeks have kind of gelled together. So I totally forgot today was Thursday until you guys were talking today, and I literally I had my wife ram to the store to get me an energy drink, water, and a snack. So it's been one of them. It's been a long 2 weeks.
Okay.
I understand that, man. My kids are both in sports, like super. It's like multiple games a week right now, and between that work, church stuff that we're involved with, trying to squeeze in the NFL and a little bit of wrestling here and there. It's like, man, it's tough. So, but again, only 2 weeks till I'm on fall break, and that
Okay.
means yeah, and then I'll be off of school for 2 weeks.
Nice. Okay, so how's your gaming schedule going? That's the question I want to ask you.
My gaming schedule lately has been non-existent, to be quite honest. After running that speedrun contest, I basically just got away from all of that because
Okay.
I'd done that for like 5-6 weeks straight. So it was time to take a break from the NES. But I've actually played just a little bit of Overwatch 2 lately. I pulled the trigger and I downloaded Starfield,
Okay.
and so I'm super excited for that game because I love Skyrim. I love Elder Scrolls games. That they're just like they're right in my wheelhouse. So when I heard space themed Skyrim, oh dude, I kind of my pants got a little wet.
Man, I had to laugh a little bit seeing all the stuff online too, with like Mjolnir being created for a ship, and just the inventiveness of people just making this ridiculous crap to fly through space is pretty much amazing.
Yeah. So again, I'm so stoked. I haven't clicked it. I haven't opened it and
Yeah.
played it. It's in the hopper. So it'll be played in the next 24 hours, 24
Nice.
to 48 hours.
So tonight I just started playing Turtles Shredder's Revenge with my son.
Yeah.
So trying to give him a little flavor of the old Ninja Turtles game. It's a modern take on it, but it's so much fun. Like, man, I just wanted to go like pop a Mountain Dew and get some Doritos right away, just kind of hunker down. But it's a good time.
Let's go, dude.
Nice.
Turtles, man. I mean, how can you go wrong with the Ninja Turtles? Come on.
It's so good. I started showing my son the 80s TV show too. Like, hey, this is the real Turtles, man. Like, the new movie's great and all fine, whatever, but 1987 Turtles doesn't get better than that. But speaking of not getting better than that, let's look at the NFL. It's been a heck of a first 2 weeks watching the games overall and kind of seeing what we've had come to just some insane finishes, ridiculous comebacks. My Packers blowing a game. They had a 2-score lead in the second half. But with that said, I guess let's dive into this and say, look, last week looking at what we had for the games, 2 games stuck out to me. The Commanders at the Broncos and the Giants at the Cardinals, where both home teams blew ridiculous leads to end up losing those games. So my question first to you, Brad, what game was more ridiculous, the Commanders at Broncos or the Giants at Cardinals?
I think definitely the Giants at the Cardinals. I think, being down 28-0, 28-7. It was significant points going into the second half. And just think about 4 straight shutout quarters in the previous game, followed by 2 additional shutout quarters. You are back up against the wall early in the season. That adversity is real, man. 0-2 teams, their chances of making the playoffs are slim. And kudos to the Giants, man. They kicked it into gear and finally pounded it into the Cardinals like they should have been beaten. I think that second half is kind of more of an indicative statement of the Cardinals than is the Giants. They were playing well above level over the past week and a half. They had a great opening week. Stayed in the game against I can't remember off the top of my head.
Commanders, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Washington. So when you're looking at Washington was going to be a clear favorite. They were like an 8-9 point favorite in that game. That it's just hard to sustain that as a bad team for that long. So I'm with the Giants. I thought that comeback was just absolutely huge.
Agreed. TJ, what do you think?
So I want to agree with you guys. You know, the Arizona Giants game was one of those ones that was just really. I don't know what it was in that second half. I guess, you know, Dayball said something to the Giants that probably made their butts pucker a little bit, and they ran out there and said, "All right, we got to do something." I'm going to say the Broncos and the Commanders game.
Yeah.
I mean, in my eyes, now, and I'm not saying that, you know, Russell Wilson's washed up by any means. I mean, he's getting up there in age, but to bomb the ball and like pray to every football god you know in the world, he bombed that and said, "Hey, somebody
get
please
it."
catch it." And the biggest thing, I mean, we all know football very well. We all live and breathe sports. When it comes to tip drills like that, what's the first thing you're supposed to do? You're not supposed to bat it up. You're supposed to just bat it down. You bat it up, that's going to give everybody a chance to catch the ball. So I think that, you know, the Commanders game was something big. Do I want to say it shows that the Commanders are something this season? Not particularly. I mean, you played a kind of trashy Arizona team. You know, Arizona did put up a fight, and then you go to Denver, where Denver really hasn't kind of sparked my my happiness because they haven't really connected yet. So you've got two kind of trashy teams that you're playing against. You're 2-0. You really haven't played a good team quite yet to say they're really back.
You know, well, a counterpoint here a little bit is I think that Eric Bieniemy has turned the dialogue a little bit for himself, though, too, because he took a team that was with a late round quarterback and made a ferocious comeback. Brian Robinson, a late round running back who was shot last year, having a monster game. So I think seeing all that come together, you really see this overall. The Commanders, they look tough, like they're mentally tough. They may not be the most talented team in the league right now, but they're definitely giving us a shot of what can happen. I think Brian Daboll, frankly, made a case for himself already as one of the best coaches, at least top 10 coaches that I'm seeing in the NFL. Like we did last year, and coming back after 6 shutout quarters to say, wake the heck up. I mean, again, I'm not saying that I don't want to jump the gun too much, overreact too severely, but Brian Daboll's impressed me with a frankly crappy Giants roster. He made him a decent team last year and made one of the most ridiculous comebacks that I can remember.
Like who's their number one wide receiver right now?
The Giants?
Yeah.
Jalen Hyatt is probably my guess, right?
Exactly. I mean, what you're saying is right on point, man. It's like if Jalen Hyatt is your number one wideout, I mean, is that somebody that really stands off the page right now? And I mean, he's actually been playing well and kind of starting to get in sync with Daniel Jones.
Right.
But at the same time, like you haven't seen it consistently. So is he that dude? But again, you got a lot of question marks there, and you're right. They're doing a lot with a little.
The other piece that kind of surprised me is looking at that Broncos defense. They've been a very good unit for the last year and a half. They've been a good defensive set. Surtain's a beast at cornerback that got some guys who can rush the passer, a good D-line. To give up 35 points to the Commanders and Sam Howell, that has to be just a kick in the junk, right? I mean, that's brutal.
Dude, not to mention, like, they lost both games at home.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the real kick in the nuts. You know, you start your season off 0-2, and not to mention the first 2 games were at home where you're supposed to have a massive advantage, and especially to start the season. So
I couldn't agree more. A few other games that kind of caught my attention looking at the AFC North. They had 2 division matchups here with the Steelers and the Browns and the Ravens and the Bengals. I start with you this time, TJ. What's up to you in those 2 games? And we'll touch on Nick Chubb here in a second, but as far as the games themselves, what stood out to you in those 2 matchups?
So I think for me, it was more or less of I was watching more the Steelers game, to be honest with you. Week 1, they came out, got bent over by the 49ers, and I didn't think we saw the true potential of Pittsburgh week 1. Now, granted, I feel like week 1 was just one of those sloppy weeks where nothing was going right. Nothing was, None of those players played in week 1. It was just one of those bad weeks. You get your second week in, you have a little bit of time together through real game situations, actual games itself. Steelers kind of, I don't want to say they really impressed me, but they have something there. And in my eyes, I felt like if they went 0-2, even with TJ Watt playing, they fell to 0-2. There's something in there that just doesn't mix. And I couldn't put my finger on it. I got a bunch of friends who are Steelers fans. They can't put their fingers on it. But I would say that, the Browns and Steelers game really caught my eye. Now, the Bengals and Ravens always going to be one of those close games. But I feel like, with how the AFC North is looking this year, I think it's the Ravens division to lose now, because nobody is, in the first 2 weeks, nobody's showing me potential to run away with the division if they're all kind of stumbling to start.
Okay. Brad, what did you see?
I would agree. I thought that was, I mean, that Pittsburgh Cleveland game was really good. Props to my boy DeJuan Jones, starting right tackle for the
Nice.
Browns, getting his way in, again due to an injury, but hey, he's taking his opportunities, and I'm praying for my best for you. So I'm a closet Browns fan just for him. But I think you're right. I think the problem I have with Pittsburgh is they cannot protect the quarterback, and they can't run the ball at all right now. They are. I mean, Najee Harris is a good running back, and he's kind of being squandered at the moment, just being not being able to give him some running lanes and let them eat some clock. Because I mean, listen to this. They ran the ball only 21 times, and they threw it 30 with Pickett. So you're 3-2 passing and running to begin with. Number two, then 10 carries, 40 yards. I mean, come on.
Right.
Any scrub running back can run the ball for 10 yards and 40 yards. That doesn't have to be your bell cow back. That's honestly, that's offensive line to me. So I'm thinking it's going to be rough for Pittsburgh to win. They got the defense to help them out, and Kenny Pickett ain't looking bad. I mean, sure, he's 50%, but he's getting there. He's making some better passes, but some better reads. I think, man, I'm scared for Cincinnati right now. Cincinnati's really scaring me because with Joe Burrow. I mean, is Joe Burrow playing this week?
I haven't heard any final word yet, honestly. I think it's more just game time decision, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, to be quite honest, like a lot of words are coming out, like he may be sitting out the next couple of weeks in order to get that calf right, which really kind of makes you want to think, like, if it only took another week or two in order for it to heal, why did you even let him start the season?
Mm-hmm.
You should just let him get to where he was good rather than rush it out, and I think that's been the case here, and that's tough because Joe Burrow is the man, and I think the Bengals go the way Burrow goes.
See, but here's my question with this whole situation, and it was something that a buddy of mine kind of brought to my attention. Look at all these. I'm gonna stick with the quarterbacks through the years that have gotten these massive extensions.
Mm-hmm.
Right after they sign on that dotted line, it's like their soul left their body, and everything bad that could truly happen is happening. Joe Flacco, right after he signed his massive deal, had the worst season of his life, had the most interceptions in, I think, NFL season or career. I think was Brady. Was that like right after he signed or something like that?
He tore his ACL that time, but yeah, that's.
I mean, like something's not right. So they say the Madden curse. Oh, fuck that, dude. I'm saying it's the QB contract curse now. Because anytime a QB gets a good contract, a good new contract, something bad has to happen.
Well, on the flip side of that one, I kind of transitioned to another game I saw, and that was looking at Justin Herbert with the Chargers. He got paid. He's playing well, but the team can't win.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost to frankly a bad Titans team, in my opinion. Did you guys get a chance to see that game? What were your thoughts on that one?
Well, I think it really that It's tough because the Titans' defense, especially their run defense, is really good. I mean,
Mhm.
they are. I think if I heard on ESPN radio on the way home from work today that they are giving up like an average of 2.6 yards a carry.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so it's going to be tough to run against them. And I think San Diego is one of those teams where if they can keep their run and pass game balanced and keep you off guard, they're eventually going to smoke you. But
Mhm.
if you become one dimensional and then you have to pass, that Herbert's still not as great in those clutch situations. So yeah, I think that them losing to Tennessee didn't surprise me as much as like just in the way they lost. They just didn't look good.
Yeah.
Well, see, and
I mean,
here's my thing
their
too.
defense looked old,
Yeah,
slow. I mean, think about it. I mean, think about the Bears trading away Khalil Mack, and everybody's like, "What are they doing? What has Khalil Mack done since he's left Chicago?"
not a whole lot.
Right.
One, not a whole lot, and two, been injured like he was those last few years. Smart move on the Bears' behalf. About the only smart thing they've done.
Oh, okay. Let's go back there in a little bit. Seahawks at Detroit, man, that was a beast of a game as well. What'd you see and what'd you think, TJ?
So my first thought was I kicked myself in the butt really hard because I dropped Geno Smith that week,
Okay.
and I was like, I didn't know who to have as my starter.
Mm.
So I kicked myself stupidly hard. I mean, as hard as I really could. I think I left a good bruise too. So it still hurts. But dude, Geno Smith, man, I don't know what it is about him, but he's really matured. And I don't know if it's Pete Carroll, kind of swaying him and, you know, doing whatever. I don't know. Pete Carroll just has like a way with certain quarterbacks. And
Mm-hmm.
there's something that he's doing with Geno Smith that is making him blossom as a really good quarterback. I'm not going to say stellar, but really good quarterback to where he can come from behind and win games now. And that's what he needs, something to boost his confidence. I think this team has that potential to help him boost his confidence that much.
Brad,
what do you see there?
You're talking Seahawks and
The Lions, yeah.
Oof. In all honesty, like I thought coming after that big win week 1 against KC, Lions. I don't want to say we're a letdown because again, Seattle's not a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that Detroit would have played with I don't know, just seemed like a little more conviction, a little more kind of like here's what we're going to try and dominate the game that we want to, rather than kind of I think TJ's right, they played right into Pete Carroll's hand. I think of
Mm-hmm.
just being able to just kind of be caught off guard defensively.
I think the turning point for me is seeing DK Metcalf come back from the injury. You saw the Seahawks kind of recoil a little bit when he got hurt, and then with him coming back, that game changes. When DK Metcalf's on the field for the Seahawks, that's a different offense. I mean,
100.
the guy is an absolute beast, and I mean, my fantasy teams appreciate him coming back. I needed those points, but I think the Seahawks even more so definitely needed his presence to keep that rolling. Then you mentioned the Chiefs before. The Chiefs and the Jags game was not pretty, but the Chiefs got it done. I guess, Brad, what did you see there? What are your thoughts going on that one?
I was really surprised to see that the Jaguars were really left out of the end zone.
Yeah.
They've got a good offense. I'm not so sure if it was KC's run defense. I know in this game, ETN, I think he may have went out of the game with an injury. Let me double check this right here. But at the same time, that I think that Kansas City kind of played up defensively. They did a really good job of just not allowing Trevor Lawrence to get that passing game going. When you got Kirk and Ridley on the outside, those are two dudes that can make you miss. I think it's like
Yep.
very comparable like Tampa with like Evans and Godwin, where you
Mm-hmm.
got studs on the outside where but at the same time that they just couldn't get going. So I think that defensively, KC played better. Maybe it was now that Chris Jones was back.
Yeah.
He got paid. He's back. So that may have definitely made a difference. So again, it didn't surprise me with the outcome, but I was thinking that the Jaguars would have scored more than 9.
I mean, there's got to be somebody the Chiefs can trade for, right? And their wide receiving group right now looks like it's absolutely undermanned, and you're wasting a year of Patrick Mahomes' prime. It's almost hard to watch, frankly.
Yeah, I agree.
TJ, what do you think of the game overall?
So that was actually one of the games I missed. I kept flipping back and forth. I did catch kind of like I guess the Sunday night football. I saw the highlights from that. And that was the number one thing they were talking about was Jones was back after signing that 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that really kind of bugs me, like they always say defenses win championships. I wholeheartedly agree with that because I don't think without a solid defense, you're not gonna be able to win anything. But is he really the catalyst that made you win the game though? I mean, I feel like after the week 1 loss, yeah, that kind of stunned everybody. At the same time, I feel like I even said the Lions would win the first game of the season. And I don't know what it is about my like week 1 predictions when it comes to certain things that we do. Because I said the O's were going to be amazing, and hell, look at that.
Right.
But, coming off that week 1 loss, I think one they had in the back of their mind, okay, Travis Kelce, his knees, he injured his knee. That's a guy on offense that, they definitely would love to have.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a bunch of other things that they could use. Then defensively, it kind of runs off of that one. So I don't know if really Chris Jones was the catalyst to say they won this game. I think it was more or less both teams were still trying to figure each other out. And it's one of those games now where we may see this game again, and I think it's going to be in the AFC Championship game. And it's going to be a lot higher scoring as well.
I think what I saw was Trevor Lawrence was too cautious, I guess, for lack of better words. He just didn't feel like he was going to go get the game for them. I was looking for Lawrence to step up and be that guy and just lead that charge, be the man, right? And I didn't see that really happening. I saw him just kind of missing some throws where he should have been making them. Just overall, didn't feel there's a fire coming from Lawrence that I wanted to see. Finish a drive. And they were in the red zone a few times, just couldn't get it done. Like just, especially at home, you got to figure it out. Next section I want to go to, guys, is looking at some 2-0 teams. I want you to tell me, are they fools or are they legit? Start with the Dolphins.
Dude.
Brad, go ahead.
Yeah, Brad, you start.
Oh, I mean, legit. I mean, there's only one word. That team is dynamic on both sides of the ball. So, I mean, that's all I can say is yes.
Okay. TJ, you don't like that. What you thinking?
I don't. And now, granted, it's early in the season. All right, this is coming on week 3. I think Tua's going to get in his head, man. I feel like, that offensive line is going to break down. He's going to take that hit again. It's going to bring him down. I don't think they're them. They are not them. Are they a team? They're solid, but they are not them. They're busts right now.
So my take here is Tua looks legit, and apparently I have a curse of trading guys in Dynasty, young guys. If I trade them, they take off. So I think Tua's got my blessing from trading him, and he's going to be an absolute beast the rest of the year. The Dolphins are legit. Next one was the Ravens. TJ, go start there. You're a DMV guy. What's the feeling?
It's going to taste so bad coming out of my mouth, dude. I think they're legit. Even with some of the injuries they have, J.K. Dobbins is out. They just brought in Kenyon Drake, who was with them last season.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he has that, he knows the playbook very well. Different OC, though, so we'll see how that works. Dude, I think the Ravens are that team, and I feel like, they may eke out a couple losses, here and there, but I think that's a team here in the North that everybody really needs to watch out for.
Mm-hmm. Brad?
Yeah, I definitely think the Ravens are legit. Even with the loss of Dobbins, I mean, Edwards and Justice Hill have both been on that squad for a few years, and they've been suitable replacements in the past. Um, Edwards came in and had a pretty decent game. Hill found the end zone, been kind of looks at fantasy stuff, trying to pick up Edwards for a buck this week. Um, so yeah, it's I think they're definitely legit. I mean, I think as long as their wide receiving core stays healthy and
Mhm.
at least relatively healthy throughout the season, because clearly their bread and butter, Baltimore, is to rush the ball, even with Lamar. Um, but I think that you still got to have those guys on the outside because Lamar can make those passes. I think he's a clutch player, so I'd definitely say definitely a contender.
Yeah, the Ravens for me is
We got to
it
tell.
hinges on Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is a different maker,
Oh
different thing on
yeah,
that team. And when he's healthy, that offense just clicks, man. And beyond that, OBJ has been a non-factor, barely played it off, if I'm not mistaken, at this point. So I look at this team and I see a team that still has more to give us. And overall, Monken's been an improvement significantly for that offense to where it's a little bit unpredictable. And that's where I think the Ravens had that foot up in the years past that I like. The next team, I already know TJ's answer, so I'm going to go to you, Brad, the Cowboys. How about them boys?
oh, I think the boys are legit too, man. I mean, Dak's again, Dak's no. I don't think Dak's a superstar QB. He's not a top 5 QB. I don't even. I think, man, not even a top 10 QB. Maybe top 10 QB, but he's never gonna knock your socks off. That
Mm-hmm.
defense is sick, dude. I'm so jealous. Being a Bears fan, I love defenses, and
Right.
yeah, I mean, Micah Parsons is the new Aaron Donald. He's a man amongst boys. That defense is gonna terrorize some dudes, even with the Suggs injury. Even with the Suggs injury.
Oh,
Suggs,
you mean Diggs?
Oh,
Diggs.
Diggs. I meant Diggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Diggs. Yeah,
All right,
so
TJ, go ahead. Go ahead, shine for a second, TJ. We'll
they're
talk about
legit.
them boys.
You know, I as a Dallas fan, yes, we are legit. Defensively, I think there's nobody who can. There's no offensive line that's going to stop Micah Parsons. I don't care if you bring back some of the best offensive linemen that are in the Hall of Fame and put them in their prime. Nobody's going to touch Micah. I mean there's something that he does that you cannot find anymore, and he does. He is him. I mean, granted,
Yep.
he's him now. Offensively, I'm still a little hesitant. I mean, Brad, I'm with you 100%. Dak is not even a top. I don't think he's a top 10, dude. Let alone he might be top 20.
Well, he's actually a great, like, I don't want to say game manager because he can win game. Again, he goes out and has had comeback wins. It's not Dak's no slouch. But the thing is, he's good with the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over much. So
Yes.
I mean, for me, that's pretty high value.
See, and the thing that's biting us in the butt this season, and I noticed it the first game. Well, first game, shit, 40 points up. That was different. This last game was we don't have that solidified tight end that everybody knows. Ferguson, yes, is an up and comer. He did have a touchdown. I don't see him being that main guy that everybody's gonna talk about when we had, Dalton Schultz. That dude was everywhere for us. So I don't know. I want to say offensively, I'm kind of iffy. I'm more like hiding behind my eyes. But when we're on defense, dude, I'm wide eyed, bushy tailed, and ready to scream in somebody's face.
I'll call it right now. Ferguson gets 6 touchdowns this year, 500 yards, and you're going to like him at the end of the year. He is better than Dalton Schultz, period.
Wow, that's a lot to say, sir.
I think the Texans are proving that I'm right there. But the Eagles are the next one I want to go to. And I'll start us off here. I think the Eagles are fool's gold. I think they have been good for a while. They've got a good roster, but I think they are starting to kind of regress. And it's kind of been that arrogance, frankly, of that front office saying we can bring in who we want to bring in and make it work. Don't get me wrong. You've got some great receivers. You have a great offense. You have a good defense. But the Commanders are starting to play good ball. The Cowboys are legitimate. The Eagles are in trouble if I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing. Brad, what do you think?
Ooh, I think that's a pretty powerful. I don't think it's outlandish because I could see that happening because the other two statements are true. That Washington is a significantly improved team. They are a contending team in that division. And again, the Cowboys being who they are and who they have been the past few years are definitely contenders. I would, it's amazing to see like even good teams go through those just kind of even if it's a slight flow throughout a year where it puts them out or puts them into a wild card instead of a division title contending team, maybe even a fringe playoff team. So yeah, I think that I still would expect Philadelphia to have a good season and be at least a wild card team. I don't think they'd be in danger of missing the playoffs, but again, if those two other teams bring it to them in those games, anything can happen.
TJ, what are your thoughts?
You know what? Anybody who's from Philly watching this, come to Maryland and I'll fight you now. Eagles suck. They're gonna lose the rest of the season, man. Dude, Kelsey's in his head after this whole like Amazon Prime thing. No, honestly, I think they're on a Super Bowl loss hangover right now. Yes, they are playing subpar football. I mean, I'm not going to say the best, but they're playing decent. It's going to catch up to them. Everybody's body's going to be hurt here soon. I don't think they will make the playoffs. It may be out of the wild card, but I don't see them being this amazing team that everybody was hyping up last year being undefeated. They can't do that again. And if they do it again, I'll bite my bullet.
They play Monday night at Tampa. Both teams, one of those teams are going to be 3-0.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it could be Baker with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Oh my gosh! Can you imagine they beat the Eagles and Baker's 3-0?
Well, let's go ahead and hit that right away. The Buccaneers, fool's gold are legit. Go ahead, Brad.
Oh man, that's so hard. Their defense. I mean, clearly their defense is good. I watched them play the Bears, but again, the Bears suck on offense right now, so that's kind of hard to judge. I think ultimately that, man, in the NFC South, if they can keep getting pretty decent production out of Baker like that, I mean, I could in the division they're in, I could see them being legit.
Okay. Going back a step here, back to the Commanders. Talking a little bit earlier, are the Commanders legit this year, or are they pretenders?
What do you think, TJ?
I hope my mom's not watching this because I always tag her in these things so she could watch it. I think they're legit. I mean, and okay. I said this at the beginning of the season, and we all can agree upon this. I said there's going to be something looming over their head, new management coming in, taking everything over, talking of a new stadium, and, RFK is actually getting demolished. I pass by it every day. It's getting demolished from the inside out. So, I mean, I feel like that's where the new stadium is going to be. I think they have something to play for right now. And, I had a buddy at the Broncos game over the weekend, and he said there were more Commanders fans at this game than there were Broncos fans.
Interesting.
And I was like, where did they come from? Because it's out of the blue. You win one game, everybody's here. They actually sold out FedEx Field for week one.
Yeah.
Tickets were $400 for nosebleed just to go to that game.
Really?
So, I think they're legit.
Okay.
So, yeah,
And going back to the Bucs for a second, PJ, I skipped you on that one. What's you taking the Bucs right now?
Dude, I hate Baker Mayfield. He's an OU man. I'm a Texas guy through and through. My granddad loves me to death. And I love him. God rest his soul. But he would say the same thing I'm saying. Baker Mayfield, he is the man. So yes, I think they're legit. All
right, I'm a little fast. We're kind of getting a little short on time. We're going to hit these fast. The Falcons, you gonna buy or sell, Brad?
Oh man, I mean, defensively, yes. Offensively, Desmond Ritter's a huge question mark. So I due to the uncertainty, I'm going to say be I'm going to sell.
Okay.
But however, if he turns it, I won't say turns it around. If he plays well, I could still see them hanging out at the end of the season.
quick hit on that, by the way. Des Ridder, career through at Cincinnati and in the pros, averages 25 pass attempts a game for roughly 200 yards, throws 1.5 touchdowns and 1.5 interception per game he plays. Does not fumble the ball, runs the ball 10 times for 50 yards. The guy is a ball control, field general, quarterback. That way, game manager is how I'll put that even. Like, he's not going to lose you games. And so he's kind of the Ryan Tannehill 2.0, if I'm being very blunt on that one. But TJ, you buying the Falcons hype, or you saying they're fool's gold?
So before I go to that, my mom was in here, by the way. She said I heard you, Thomas Jacob. So yes, she's in here.
Hey, Brandy.
That's my mama, y'all. That's my mama bear. But yeah, there it is, right there. So honestly, man, I'm buying on the Falcons. I mean, I think Desmond Ridder he's very quiet right now, but he has a back in Bijan Robertson, who is literally making everybody in the NFL talk. And he may not be putting up these amazing stats like scoring 3 touchdowns a game.
He just did. He just beat the Packers single-handedly, basically.
Dude, he is literally, I mean, small chunks of yardage, dude, is all it takes for him. And he's getting like 130 to 140 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. In the NFL, especially in the NFL, you don't see that very often. And coming from when he was in college, dude, I think that, Atlanta's going to be that team that everybody is going to be talking about here soon. And I think they're going to run with the Saints.
All right. Well, next one is kind of a topic for me this week, the Saints. Who dat?
Nah, I sell.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you who dat nation. I'm on your side. Saints still win that division. I said it before season started. I say it now. Saints win that division. That defense is too damn good. 49ers.
Oh, bye for sure. I mean, they're up. Last I saw, it's halftime at 17-6. So, chances are they'll beat the Giants. They'll be 3-0. And
don't piss off Ryan Dable.
Facts, but I mean, again, like you want to talk about if you're talking about 2 or 3 legit teams that for a fact they will be in the playoffs and they will be a contender, that's the 49ers are one of those teams.
I completely agree, actually.
And here's my thing too. Brandon Ayuk is out for tonight's game and they already have another two wide receivers that are going back and forth for his position. Next man up ball. And I think that's perfect. I mean, Kyle Shanahan is known for that as well. Dude, ain't nobody going to touch them 49ers at all.
Man, I see Aaron commenting. Aaron, where you at, buddy? Get on here, man. We need you here. Anyway, that being said, it's 17-13 now. Aaron piped in for us, so we've got the scoring update here. But, all right, so last thing I want to do buy sell on for winners. The NFC is undefeated against the AFC so far this season. Do you buy or do you sell? The NFC does not suck as bad as we thought they did. Brad, you're first here.
I mean, I can buy that. I can buy it that, a lot of teams in the NFC have sucked to the point where, I mean, when you're going to draft talent on your team, you're markedly going to get better no matter what by default because you're going to hit on some of those high round picks. So, again, it's ebbs and flows. It just kind of, I think that a lot of the focus has been on the AFC quarterbacks, but I mean, really think about it. Most of those quarterbacks really haven't been all that hot this year.
Okay. Welcome, Aaron, to the show. Aaron, what do you think? Is NFC actually not that bad?
This. First of all, guys, I'm sorry. I fell asleep with my son, so I can't. I can no longer give Ben any crap for falling asleep and missing out. So yeah, I'm not ready to buy that yet. That the NFC isn't as bad. I think, I heard what you were doing the buy and sell before. I agree with Brad. I'm not buying the Saints. I am buying the Falcons, though. I think they're a team that you shouldn't be sleeping on. And I think a lot of people are still saying, "Oh, they're crap." I think there's a pretty good shot that they could win that division. And I think there's a lot of fans and teams that are still sleeping on them. But then you have a team like the Saints who they're 2-0, and I just don't buy it. I mean, if and I'm not going to make any predictions about the Packer game this weekend because that's when it ends up biting me in the ass. But if the Packers don't win that game, then maybe the Packers aren't nearly as good as we thought they were after the Chicago game. They should win that game when you're facing a Saints team that's down to their third running back, at least for now, until Kamara comes back. And Derek Carr just hasn't impressed me. They barely beat a Carolina team that is rebuilding right now. They beat Tennessee, I think, wasn't it 17-16 if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. So they beat them by 1. It's not like they're coming in and rolling teams, and so I'm still not buying. I think Cincinnati will get it together, even though they pissed me off the last 2 weeks and I'm no longer betting on them. Forget it. They're not part of my parlay anymore until they turn it around. So, but I still think the AFC is better.
Okay.
I'm
TJ,
loving this.
before we go to the next section here, what do you think?
Sorry, who? I'm more interested in this conversation we're all having on Facebook about. So my boy Jacob Murph, dude, you're the best, and he's saying that Bryce Young's a bust. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I kind of agree with him, dude.
It's 2 weeks in. It's 2 weeks in.
Bust.
Come on, boys. Let's get
bust.
real. Let the man develop. Let the man play the game.
Hey, he's a bust. You want to know why?
His ankle's busted?
Because hook him, baby.
Oh,
Screw
boy.
Bama.
Get out of here.
All the people saying he's a bust are the same ones who are saying Tua is a bust.
Dude, Tua is
not a bust.
No, but I'm saying you had people halfway through his rookie year saying he was a bust already.
No, but I mean, okay, so being injury prone is one thing, but because you are injury prone does not make you a bust. Sorry.
Right,
I agree with you, Brad. I agree with you. I'm just saying that, I remember people saying that, earlier. Go ahead. What was that?
It's our Mac Jones has not been a hurt quarterback. To your point, Jalen Hurts has been a healthy quarterback. Yeah, he graduated Oklahoma or left Oklahoma, but those are Alabama quarterbacks. This is kind of a trash take, Facebook user, whoever you are. I don't agree with this. It is one of those spots where I've got to say that the Alabama quarterbacks are not inherently brittle. They're used to playing behind 5-star old lines, playing good defensive lines, but come on. It's trash. All right, so quick thing I want to ask you guys is looking at the 0-2 teams, I want you guys to pick one of these teams you think is going to make their bounce back. Cardinals, Panthers, Bears, Vikings, Broncos, Chargers, Texans, Bengals, Patriots. So those are our 0-2 teams. If you had to pick one to be a playoff team in that group, and I'll give you a second one if you got a good reason for it. But, TJ, start with you. What one do you have in that 0-2 group that you think can make a charge yet?
Honestly, I'm going to go with New England.
Okay.
I think that they're starting to figure everything out. I think what they need is a little bit more of I think they're hesitant on Zeke. That's the big thing for me. I think they're extremely hesitant on Zeke. They're not sure what potential he has with that offense. I think he fits perfectly with the Belichick, how Belichick likes to, he likes to aerate it. He has Mac Jones who can throw it. I think the Patriots they're gonna bounce back and they're gonna make it to the playoffs. Do I think they're gonna win a division? Nowhere, hands down. Do I think they'll win that division?
Okay.
But 100%, I think the Patriots will definitely bounce back. And you said I could have a number 2 with a good cause.
Good reason. Go for it. Yep.
I'm gonna say Skull. Dude, the Vikings may be sliding right now, but give Kirk Cousins them chains, and he will dance you and make you laugh, and he will come to you, Ben, specifically, say you like that.
Oh man, TJ, I'm trying so hard to agree with you this guy. I just can't. Anyway, Aaron, who do you got on that list? Who do you think is your bounce back?
Like I said, I still think the Bengals. I mean, they might not win the division, if they can't beat Baltimore, but I think I think they bounce back and at least make the playoffs for sure. And then once you're in the playoffs, maybe you make a run. Yeah, part of me, TJ, actually wanted to say the Vikings, but I just have a hard time making those words come out of my mouth. It's difficult.
You just said it.
Well, that wasn't official. That wasn't, but I could definitely see, because they're the damn Vikings, I could see them turning it around and making the playoffs at least. But I don't think they beat Detroit, especially the way they're playing right now. So, the Bengals turn it around. I think they just, it's one of those things where you need. I mean, the Packers have done it before. I mean, how many times have we seen? Did we see the Patriots with Tom Brady start 2-2 or 1-3 in September, and next thing you know, they're in the Super Bowl? So I'm not saying Cincy will be in the Super Bowl, but they'll be in the playoffs.
Okay, Brad.
I got to go with the Vikings first. It's the thing is that a lot of people want to dog Kirk Cousins for like them being 0-2, but it's not really his fault. Defense has been giving up a lot of points, which is atypical of Minnesota. So I think that they got the best chance just because that division's a lot closer. In addition, that I say an outside chance for the Chargers to slide in. Again, I think the AFC West is just not as good as people had kind of given them credit for. They see the names of Mahomes and Russell Wilson and Jimmy G and everybody in that division, and it's like, ooh, look at all those QBs. But again, they're just not all that good. I think the Broncos are going to be another terrible team. I think they're going to lose, and I think they maybe go 6-11. I just don't think they're going to win with Russell Wilson.
Ignore my mom, please, with that one.
I go
Mom.
the Vikings. That's my team.
So the Chargers are my number one on that list. I see the Chargers that's too good of a team. They've been right there recently. I think it starts this week against TJ's Vikings and shuts Kirk Cousins right up. And I think we're going to see the Chargers start coming back. The thing here is that loss week 1 for the Chiefs and how they played week 2 tells me this division is relatively open. You can still come back quickly on this side. Guys, no one cares about Bama anymore. We moved on. Move on, comments. But
yeah, I will say, let me just say real quick to Brad's point. I do agree that everyone's dogging on Kirk Cousins, and even though he's thrown a few picks, you look at his overall numbers, he's not the biggest problem on that team.
No, he's not.
So it is, and everyone thought that bringing in, don't they have Brian Flores as their D coordinator, if I'm not mistaken?
I don't know.
Pittsburgh?
No. I thought the Vikings, did they bring in Flores from? I'm trying to think who their D coordinator was.
Flores is coordinator for the Vikings now.
Yeah. So and everyone thought, well, they bring in a new coordinator and they'll bring in Flores. He'll whip them into shape. Maybe they just don't have the talent that they thought they did. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't necessarily the only problem, was the defensive coordinator. So, I am fearful as a Packers fan that Brad and TJ might actually be right on that, but I'm hoping that they're wrong. Anyway.
No, you're spot on.
Next, Ben. You're next to say that. You're next to say that, Ben. And I will give you a big hug for that.
A big virtual hug.
Look, what I'm going with here is that the more the Vikings lose, the more they play at noon. The more they play at noon, the more Kirk Cousins wins. This last week is an exception to that, but I think if you keep Kirk out of the limelight, the man will play. I think he folds under the pressure and out of his routine. He needs that regiment and he needs to be in a spot where he's comfortable.
Well, isn't that kind of like the Cincinnati Bengals of what was it, the 80s or the 90s with Sam White? Remember, like every other year when they had a crappy schedule, they end up winning the division, and then they're in the playoffs and they make a run or whatever. I mean, that's how it was when they went to the Super Bowl against the Niners back. I can't remember what year it was. It's too much whiskey, but I mean, it's it's one of those things where I think, yeah. I mean, I just remember, and then the years after they made the playoffs, they were usually like right around 500 or whatever. They didn't even sniff the playoffs that year. But anyway.
So jumping into this week quick, I just picked a few games for us to go ahead and call. Take your winners. These are all under 3-point lines. So the Packers are 1-point favorites over the Saints at home. Brad, who you got?
Oh, man. 1-point favorite over the Saints.
Where's the game being played?
It's at Lambeau. Yeah, it's at Lambeau. I'm gonna go Green Bay.
Okay. Aaron?
Yeah, Packers.
TJ?
Well, bite my tongue for saying this, but who dat?
Okay. Chargers at Vikings. Vikings are 1-point favorites at home. TJ, go start us off this one.
Skull, baby.
Aaron?
I got Chargers.
Brad?
Man, this is going to be a good game to watch too, just because the loser of this game is 0-3.
Yo.
So that puts you in like the impossible hole. If Minnesota's back at home, I'm going to say Minnesota.
All right, I got the Chargers there. Patriots at Jets. Jets are 2.5-point dogs. Brad, who do you got?
I'll take the Pats with points.
Okay. Aaron?
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. Patriots. I have no faith at this point in Zach Wilson being able to put up any points. So
yeah, start the Patriots defense and fantasy, guys.
Yeah.
TJ, who you got?
Yeah, I got the Pats with the points as well.
Okay. Falcons are at the Lions. Lions are 3-point favorites. TJ, who you got?
Dude, I'm not going to stray away from Bijan Robinson. I think he's going to run all over the Detroit.
Okay. Aaron?
I'm sticking with Detroit at home. It was in Atlanta. I might go with Atlanta, but I'm going with Detroit in this one.
Okay. Brad?
I'm going to roll the dice with Atlanta. I think that they've got a little some early season mojo going right now, so I'm going to take Atlanta in this.
Now, I've got Detroit here because I think they'll actually play a man defense against the Falcons to stop the passing game entirely. Dan Campbell will make sure the team's in check. I think the Lions defend that home turf after losing a rough one last week. Next one, I have the Steelers at the Raiders. Raiders are 2.5-point favorites. Aaron starts off with this one.
Steelers at the Raiders. I'll go with the Raiders. If it's at home, I would definitely take the Steelers in Pittsburgh, but I'll go with the Raiders.
Okay. Brad, what do you think?
Talk about a boring Sunday night game. I'm gonna, Raiders are at home. I'll take the Raiders.
Okay, TJ.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to stay on the black and silver train with you guys, so I'll go Raiders as well. I feel like the Steelers might come out to this one, but I don't think it's going to be enough to win the game. It'll be something to show some promise for the rest of the season, but I'm going to have to go with the Raiders.
I'm going to be contrarian here. One of the Steelers because their defense. I just don't trust the Raiders' defense enough to hold up. And I think the Steelers' offense is not good, but I think that George Pickens has a coming out party on national television in this game. The Rams are at the Bengals. Bengals are 3-point favorites. Brad,
wow. That surprises me. I would take the Rams in the points. Easy.
Okay. Aaron?
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams in the points.
TJ.
Even though I just am the one that was saying that the Bengals will turn it around, the way the Rams have surprised me the first 2 weeks, the way they played, so yeah, I'm going with the Rams in this one.
Okay, TJ.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Rams as well.
You said the line is 3 points right now.
The Lions are 3 points today per ESPN. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to make one thing about regarding the lines, weren't the Packers 2-point favorites at one point? I'm just surprised it went down because I had heard 2 points earlier in the week.
Yeah,
so,
everything I was looking at, I don't know who ESPN uses, if it's
Yeah.
but
MGM or whatever. Anyway.
right. Yeah. So thank you ESPN for the lines that may or may not be people are looking at their betting. But I got the Rams here too. Actually, I think the Bengals, especially if Burrow is not playing, they've not found their run game consistently. They've not found their passing game consistently, and that defense is a question mark as well. The Bengals need to figure something out, and Zach Taylor's finally being tested as a coach, and what can he actually do to pull together a team that doesn't look like themselves? So, fun week either way for us. A lot of other games going on, all bigger than those, but that's kind of where I want to hit. I know we're getting a little later here, guys. I want to hit college football for a second because it's one of my passion areas, and I wanted to get your thoughts here too. In the spirit of the conversation, our comments today, my first actual buy-sell comment I want to get your flavor on is, does Bama lose 4 games this year? TJ, start us off.
Number 3 in the nation. Yes, Bama tanks, baby.
Okay.
All the way down. SEC ain't ready for Texas.
That's one thought. Aaron, what do you got?
Well, I'm just looking at their schedule. I mean, I'll say yes. I don't follow college football as much as you do, but I know they're not the same Alabama team. Did you guys talk? And I didn't see again. I only saw like the last 20 minutes of the show or so since I've been on. But have you discussed at all that rumor that Saban is looking at retiring after the season?
No.
Is that something you guys buy?
I don't.
No.
You don't buy it?
I don't. Saban walks out as a champion. He will win the 8-team playoffs, so he's won all the formats, and he'll walk away. That's what he's waiting for.
Gotcha. I can see that too.
But back to that 4-loss question, no way. There's no way that they're going to lose 4 games. First and foremost, none, 0 chance. I will bet my house that they would not lose 4 games. Dude, I mean, look at their schedule. I'm about to
look at their schedule too.
They have 3 ranked opponents the remainder of the season: Mississippi, Tennessee, who's 25 and slipping, and 12 at LSU. The other games are unranked: Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Kentucky, Auburn, Chattanooga. None of those teams are any good. No, they're not losing 4 games. No way, they're not losing 4 games. Right now, no way.
Bama loses the Iron Bowl. Auburn, War Damn Eagles, going to fly this year. They lose this weekend to Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin gets his sweet revenge there. He's a little payback for him. And there's not a loss in there. I don't know where it is yet. But
even if they lose it all, no way. No way.
See, but here's my question. So, Brad, you're saying no, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say – I mean, I hate Bama for many reasons.
And me too. I don't like Alabama either. I don't like talking positive about Alabama, but there is no way that they are losing 4 games. I could see them losing 3 games at most.
So here's my thing. After the showing they had at South Florida, now do I want to blame it on the rain? No, because Bama's played in some pretty crappy games already with weather. After that showing at South Florida, I have no glimmer of hope for them because, like you guys are saying, they play 15. Who else they have? Tennessee, LSU. Dude, I think honestly, I think they're going to lose to LSU. They're going to lose to Tennessee, and they're going to lose to Auburn. I think the Iron Bowl is going to be the game that they just. It's not.
No.
4 losses.
Yeah, LSU, A&M's a losable game. I think they win that game, but it's a losable game. I said right now, if you want some easy money, Ole Miss +6, easiest bet of the weekend for me. Happily plug that one in. Anyway, next one I have is 4 teams I want to ask you, kind of you guys buy or sell and legit contenders. First one, TJ, is your favorite. Longhorns, are they legit contenders for the title this year? Okay, Aaron.
I'm going to say yes from what I've seen of them.
Okay.
I haven't. Yeah. I think they are.
All right, Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, I give them a chance. Yep.
Okay. What about FSU?
Yeah. I think they're electric, dude. I actually like watching Florida State. That's it's kind of cool to see. Like,
Mhm.
I almost feel nostalgic a little bit, feeling like those '90s Florida State teams with
Yeah.
like that. They got some swag players who are really good, and
Yep.
so I think it's fun to watch. And it's good for college football.
Okay, Aaron?
Yeah, I agree with Brad.
TJ?
Yeah, I agree as well. That's been a fun team to kind of catch a glimpse of every once in a while.
I'll say this. Watch this weekend when they play at Clemson. Clemson's looked like trash, but this is always a good game to watch as Clemson FSU. So just 2 cents there for a little plug. Next game I had was USC. TJ, what do you got? Buying or selling? USC is a legit contender.
I'm gonna sell that. One man does not make a team the best team in the world. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Caleb Williams,
That boy
He's-
good. He good.
he's good.
Tom Brady disagrees, by the way, but go ahead.
Tom Brady is also gay. We've come to notice it because he wears
Oh, wow.
Uggs.
Don't get us canceled, TJ. Come on, we just got started.
Sorry, he's flamboyant.
All right.
But no, I don't buy it.
All right. Aaron, get USC. What do you think of them so far?
I do think, I mean their defense has been a question in the last couple of years, but especially if they're playing against good teams like in Oregon or something. But I'd still say yes right now. As of right now, ask me after the next 4 games or something. 4 weeks. But
That's
yes.
fair. All right, Brad, what do you think?
Quick side note, real quick. The last time Alabama lost more than 3 games was 2007, which was Nick Saban's first year at Alabama.
Oh,
They're due.
it's crazy.
Just FYI, they've lost 3 games in 1 season, and no more than that in the past.
They don't have a quarterback this year.
In the past 15 years. That's enough data for me.
Fall Tide. No quarterback. Fall Tide. All right, so Brad, going to you now with USC. What, you taking them?
Pretender for sure. I think that I think go Irish. I think eventually they're going to go out there and put the beat down.
Oh God.
Well, so that brings me to my next point. Number 1, are the Irish legit?
Yeah, they're legit. Absolutely, they're legit.
They are 3-point home dogs to Ohio State this weekend, by the way.
Yeah.
Again, easy money, but that's what Ohio State's looked like trash this year. Go Irish, I'll say it. Touchdown Jesus hears those prayers this weekend. But all right, so Aaron, what do you think about Notre Dame this year? That legitimate?
Screw Notre Dame. I cannot stand Notre Dame, and I hope Ohio State gets together and rolls them by 5 touchdowns this weekend. No, I'm not a fan of Notre Dame.
All right, so Brad, are you ordering the Beatles T-shirt and I get the Notre Dame hat for him? Or what are you doing? So
go Irish.
Oh, nice.
TJ, what do you think? What the Irish this year?
I hope my mom's not watching this, and if she comments on this after I say this, I'm probably banned from her house from watching football ever again. Go Irish.
Nice. There we go.
Attaboy.
All right. So my next question I want to ask you guys.
Rudy sucks, by the way. Anyway, go ahead.
Whoa. You leave Samwise, Samwise, leave him alone, all right? Like, Sean Astin's a saint. You hear me? A saint.
Those are facts.
Colorado, can they win the Pac-12? Brad, fire away.
Can they win the Pac-12? No. That's immediately no. I think that I think Colorado is about to get a big dose of reality. I mean, when you play Oregon this
21-point
weekend,
dogs at Oregon.
Yeah. So when let's see, Colorado's schedule is
They have Oregon and USC back to back.
Do they have them back to back? I knew they had them coming up, but
yeah, I mean, shoot, they got in the next 5 games. They're at Oregon, they're at home versus USC, then they play Stanford, UCLA, Oregon State, Washington State, Utah. It's like, whoa, no, they no. Sorry, Coach Prime. Sorry.
Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, there's no way in hell they win the Pac-12. But I mean, I think if they could keep those games close, where maybe they lose by 10 instead of 21,
Mhm.
I think that's and I know there's some people say there's no moral victories, but I think that is. I mean, first of all, they've already won more games already this season than they won, I think, in the last 2 seasons combined, if I'm not mistaken, or pretty damn close. So, I think they've already made improvements, and Dion hasn't even really gotten into the whole recruiting thing yet. I mean, I think that program is going to continue getting better. And honestly, going back to what Brad had said earlier about, FSU, and I realize Colorado doesn't have the same history as an FSU or even like a Miami, but I remember a time when Colorado was good. I think, was it Rick Neuheisel was their coach, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep.
And so when I see them, I know people have an opinion about Dion and all that, but when I see them coming up, it kind of reminds me again of the old days, like FSU being good. It's like seeing another team, whether it was a team that was good in the past coming back, or a team that's never really been good, that's, all of a sudden now a contender or putting out a good product on the field. I always enjoy it. So when people are bashing on Dion, I get it. He rubs people the wrong way, including you, Ben. But at the same time, I still think it's good for college football when you have more teams that are out there that are watchable than, it's just, what do we watch this week? Well, it's Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, and then name me 3 SEC teams, and that's it. It just, so no, they do not win the Pac-12. They don't even, they'll lose 3 or 4 games this year, but I still think he's doing a good job there.
All right,
Agreed.
TJ, what do you think?
There's no way in hell they win the Pac-12. I mean, they almost lost to Colorado State, and the fact that they lost Travis Hunter for the next 3 or 4 weeks, no.
Okay.
They go to Oregon, they're gonna get beat down. Puddles is gonna do another 700 push-ups again. They come home and play against USC. Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams, they're going to look at Coach Prime and say, yeah, it's our time to shine. You suck. And then for the rest of the season, man, I don't think this was – I think it's all overhype, all overreaction. Prime is cool. Like, growing up, watching him play and everything, he was here in Baltimore, watching him play here.
Come on, Jacob. Man.
Hey, and I will claim that. That is my best friend right there saying that too.
That's pretty funny. I had to put that out there.
Yeah, he would be your best friend, TJ. I buy that. I buy that for sure.
All right, so
we played lacrosse together for 4 years.
That being said, is the Pac-12 overrated? Looking at what they have right now, they have a lot of undefeated teams, a lot of ranked teams right now. Is the Pac-12 currently overrated?
No, I would say no. I mean, you got some really talented teams in there. Washington is going to be a playoff contending team this year. I think that USC is a playoff contending team this year. Utah, if things go well for them in conference play, they could be a playoff contending team. If not a playoff contending team, a Rose Bowl team. So yeah, I think that even down to getting down to I don't want to say the bottom. It used to be at the bottom of the Pac-12. Of having Colorado ranked, Oregon still ranked. Again, if their season goes well, they could be a contender. Washington State, who's generally in and out of the top 25. So no, I don't think they're overrated.
Okay, Aaron?
I see where Brad's coming from there. To me, when I look at overrated or not overrated, I look at do any of their teams have a legitimate shot at winning the national championship? And I still don't, prove me wrong. I guess it's one of those things where kind of like Colorado, hey, if you really want to show me you're legit, okay, beat somebody that's really good, and then I'll start buying into it. I feel the same way, every year it's, one team or another, whether it's USC, Oregon, or whoever in the Pac-12 that this is going to be their year. They're going to rise up and they're going to, get to the championship game and blah, blah, blah. And it rarely ever happens. So I don't want to sound like a snob, a Big Ten snob here or anything like that, but show me first. Until then, I don't want to hear about all the great teams that you have after, 3 weeks of the season. So.
Okay. TJ?
So I'm trying to look up, and I don't know if I'm wrong. Isn't the Pac-12 disbanding? Like, is that what I'm seeing? Because it looks like all these teams are leaving the Pac-12 and they're going to the AAC, which is what it looks like
ACC.
right now.
ACC primarily.
Big 10 too.
Big 12.
So,
Big 12, yeah.
If we're asking, is the Pac-12 overrated? Yeah, if they don't have any like good teams there, they're extremely overrated. But for this season alone, no, they are something to be messed with. I mean, Oregon's coming back up there, and it's pretty good.
Two teams I've heard miss so far: UCLA and Oregon State, also playing good ball right now, and both very highly ranked, undefeated at this point in the season.
And let's not forget Oregon shoes now. Apparently, they have shoes that are heat sensitive that change colors based on temperature. So I just want to point that out to everybody.
I need a pair of those.
I heard that today.
Next one I'll go to is the ACC is underrated this year. TJ starts off.
Yeah, extremely. I mean, there's some pretty massive. I don't know, man. Like Florida State, Clemson's on the rise. Yeah, Duke. Duke's been having a hell of a season. Was it UNC Chapel Hill? They're having a great season. So
Miami's back.
I mean, all these teams in the ACC that people are kind of looking over at Big 12, at the Big 10, SEC. ACC, guarantee you, someone's going to sneak into that top 4 by the end of the season.
Okay. Aaron?
I'll say, yeah. I mean, after looking at it, to be honest, I wasn't even aware of how well they were doing this year. So, but yeah, I'll say yes for now. But again, show me at the end of the season.
Fair enough. Brad, what do you think?
I also think so. I mean, I don't want to say it's a feel-good story, but I mean, everybody knows Duke basketball, but Duke football. I mean, are we seeing a new era in the Carolinas, especially with now again, but as TJ said, North Carolina and Duke both having good teams. I mean, you got to have a new little rivalry there on a different format. So, yeah, I think that the ACC's been playing pretty well.
All right, the Big 12 I think they're being underrated this year. Brad, what do you think?
I think they're going to be overrated this year. I think that the Big 12 is going to be in trouble in regards to maybe getting one team, because it's 8 teams in the playoffs.
Not yet.
Not yet. Right? Still 4. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be one of the teams that may be looking on, even as a conference winner, maybe be looking on the outside, looking in. So I think that Big 12 better have some convincing squads this year.
Okay, Aaron, what do you think?
You said underrated, correct?
I said underrated.
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 No. I mean, I'm looking at them right now, and Texas is the only one that I see that's a real contender. I mean, there's other teams that are 3-0. Obviously, you got Oklahoma, UCF, BYU, Kansas, but I mean, and then you have TCU, who's not, just a shell of themselves from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't think they're underrated. I think they're right about where they should be.
All right, I'm gonna hurt your feelings, TJ. What do you think?
Dude, I think the Big 12, we're overrated as it is already.
Okay.
I mean, we got these teams that think they can play in the Big 12 that came in, Houston being one of them. I love the Cougars 100%. Like, that's the school my grandfather went to, and he's a huge Houston Cougars fan. So that, it stays in the bloodline, and I love watching them play. They came into the Big 12 thinking they were going to run the table this season, and they got trounced by TCU.
Mm-hmm.
That was their first real, challenge, I think. And it showed that there are some of these teams, you may be bred through, certain states that play good football. You're not bred for that. So Big 12 is definitely overrated right now. And as Aaron said, there's only one team that's really showing potential. It is Texas. There's nobody that, I feel in my eyes outside of Texas would kind of run the tables with them.
I'll throw Kansas at you. Can Kansas keep it together all season this year?
Hell no.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk, KU. All right, so moving on to the Big Ten. We're looking at the Big Ten West. Is it really wide open? Aaron, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I feel like the Big Ten West is always wide open. I don't, I'm looking at, let's see. No, let me pull them up here. Yeah, it's because you have, Iowa, who apparently I heard that they finally gave an ultimatum to their offensive coordinator. If he can't average 25 points a game, he's fired. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I think the West is always wide open. I mean, I think the Eastern Division is a different story, but yes, to answer your question, yes, it's wide open.
Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the West is definitely wide open. I think a few teams that, there's not going to be anybody that's going to be highly ranked out of really any of those teams.
Mhm.
Maybe save Iowa throughout the season. I think a lot of those other teams are going to struggle, but yeah, I think in contention in the West could be Iowa, Wisconsin, maybe Minnesota.
Okay.
Well, this tomorrow night's game is going to be interesting between the Badgers and Purdue, because you got a Badger team that's 2-1, a Purdue team that's 1-2, but Purdue is actually favored in the game, and it wouldn't shock me even as a Badger fan. I hate to say it if Purdue won pretty easily, just because I'm not real convinced right now that the Badgers have what it takes at least this year to win that division after what I've seen the first 3 games.
I think we see a different offense tomorrow night, though, Aaron, is where I'm going to come with this one, because what I saw last week especially was a team that was literally experimenting and playing with Georgia Southern. Second half showing that. Once they got that past halftime, they came out and they went to business. Same with the Buffalo game.
I hope you're right. I hope that you're right, and they were just kind of messing and doing some experimenting like a preseason game or something. But
right.
Part of me also wonders if Fickle is so and Longo are so dead set on doing that air raid offense that you're overlooking the fact that you have one of the best 1-2 punches, in my opinion, in running backs, at least in the Big Ten, if not in the country. I mean, I think Braylon Allen and Malusi can be outstanding, but I'm just not sure if Fickle has figured out how he wants to use them yet. And that's as a Badger fan, that's the frustrating thing. So, anyway.
Yep. I definitely agree. TJ, what do you think? The Big Ten West wide open.
Oh, 100%. I mean, as you guys were saying, the East is the East. Penn State, Ohio State, that side that's untouchable. Coming to the West, it's unpredictable. I mean, like, it could be any given Saturday, something can happen there. I think it's wide open.
Okay. So I'm going to counterpoint a little bit with the East for a second. Maryland, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State are all undefeated coming to this point. Now, Maryland's not winning the division. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that crazy. I'm not going to go Arizona Cardinals takes right now. But I will say the Terps are at least in a spot where I like what Loxley has that team doing. You have a decent Maryland football team that has been getting better each of the last few seasons. That's at least watchable football. And I think their long-term game is trying to go towards that Oregon of the East with Under Armour as their sponsor. It's kind of that Maryland is still fun football to watch. I hate to hear it, TJ, but it's the best college team in the state of Maryland right now. But all right, so next question I want to ask is the SEC West is wide open. True or false? And TJ, I'll start with you.
Come back to me. I got to see who's in that one.
All right, Brad, what do you think?
No, I think it's a 2-horse race, Bama or LSU.
Okay. Aaron, what's your take on that one?
I might throw Auburn in there, with what Brad said, LSU and Alabama, maybe Auburn, but I don't think it's necessarily as wide open as, say, the Big Ten West is.
Okay. TJ, what's your take now?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Bama, Auburn, and LSU.
I'm going to throw Ole Miss's hat in this ring. I'm a Mississippi State fan. Ole Miss is not my team, to be very clear on this. And Ole Miss has had a shaky start to their season, but I think that this weekend, when they beat Alabama, I think they put their name in the hat as kind of being in contention here. I think Arkansas is taking a step back. I think A&M is fool's gold this year. I think you're looking at. I agree with you guys. I think it's kind of a top-heavy division with, Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, all kind of vying for that. Who wins those games will decide who wins that division. The last question I want to ask you guys for college real quick was, does Georgia have competition in the SEC East this year? Brad, go ahead.
No, there's nobody that's going to contend. No. I think the best opponent they may have come at them is a subpar Florida team, maybe. Kentucky's kind of gone from being pretty decent back to being mid again.
3-0.
Yeah, but I mean, no, they've the past 2 seasons they haven't. No, I'm gonna.
Okay. TJ, what do you think?
It's all Georgia's division.
So I'm gonna say yes. I think what it's gonna be is I think Florida's gonna turn it around and they're gonna kind of run up there with Georgia to play. Do I think it's gonna be Georgia through and through to the East, of course, but I think Florida's gonna be right up there with them. They're kind of coming back around after that embarrassing loss to Utah.
Okay. Aaron, what do you think?
It's a hard no.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Georgia loses a game in the division this year. They still win the division. Overall, look at this. I think that South Carolina's pesky enough. Florida's pesky enough. There's enough talent there. I think that Kentucky needs that statement win. Stoops has been doing a great job there. But I think this is kind of one of those games that's going to trip up Georgia, where that we've seen with how many teams before that arrogance eventually leads to that bad loss. And it's been everybody. It's been USC. It's been Texas. It's been Michigan. It's been Ohio State. Everybody does it. It's kind of a matter of time and just the win. So I'm really looking at this one saying I think that Georgia loses a game, but so they have competition. Yes, but I still think they do win the division. Just gonna quick fly through. I'm gonna mention a few games. Tell me which one stand out to you. FSU at Clemson, SMU at TCU, Colorado at Oregon, or UCLA at Utah. Which game are you watching if you pick one of those four? TJ.
I'm gonna say SMU and TCU. That I think that's gonna be a game that will show people that SMU does belong in the Big 12. After everything that happened to them, they finally found a division because they were kind of trouncing everybody in the American Conference that they were in, and there really wasn't that good of play. They come into the Big 12. I think they're ready to run the tables here as well.
Okay. And then Aaron, what do you think? Which game catch your attention?
I'm gonna say Colorado and Oregon. Just not because I think it's the necessarily the best game. I mean, I'm maybe SMU and TCU might be a better overall game, but I just want to see where Colorado's at. And I want to see where Oregon's at. Does Oregon just crush them and tell them to sit their ass down and wait till next year or whatever, or what do they do? So that's the one I'm looking forward to.
Brad, what do you think?
I ditto Aaron. He literally just stole the words out of my mouth. I think this is like it's a put up or shut up game for Colorado with all the talk surrounding them. So you got to play in the big leagues. Time to see if you got some big play.
Yeah, I'm going back to my take earlier in the show talking about Clemson. I think the Clemson FSU game is going to be an absolute must-see game for everybody. We're going to see is Clemson actually done? Is Dabo depend on guys like Lawrence and Deshaun Watson, or does he actually can coach a team? And is FSU legit? It's a 2-point line, and that's got my attention. Something has the line maker's attention here to put a 2-point line on a game with an unranked Clemson team against a Florida State team. So something's going on there. I can't quite place it. The next four I was going to hit quick. Ole Miss at Bama, BYU at Kansas, Oregon State at Washington State, and Ohio State at Notre Dame.
Go Irish. Let's go.
Okay. The Brady Quinn
Say it
Bowl.
with me, Aaron. Go Irish.
I'll say go Buckeyes, but I'll pick that same game also. I think that'll be a heck of a game if you like football. So
Okay. TJ, what do you got?
Go Irish.
That's right, baby. That's right.
So again, I'm the contrarian here again, but I'm looking at the Ole Miss Bama game I talked about before, and it's a close second as that BYU Kansas game. Both games feature undefeated. BYU Kansas are both undefeated. Lance Leipold has Wisconsin ties. I love seeing what he's doing at Kansas. I hate Kansas, but I like him. So I want to see if they can get that statement win for that program, and I want to see Ole Miss beat Bama at Bama and watch the tide tears fall. Last set I have here is Iowa at Penn State, Memphis at Missouri, Mississippi State at South Carolina, and Auburn at A&M. Brad, what are you watching?
Auburn A&M would be an afternoon CBS game. I love afternoon CBS games.
Okay, that's fair. Aaron?
Yeah, I'll say that too. Auburn, and A&M.
TJ?
I'm going to stick to Auburn A&M as well.
All right. Sorry, just again to you guys. I'm going Memphis, Missouri. I'll tell you why. That Missouri win last week was exciting to watch. Memphis is the only team left in the Americas actually playing well. And so I want to see if they can keep themselves relevant, keep that conference relevant, to keep watching as we go through all this. So thank you for humoring me, guys, for that segment. I enjoyed the conversation on college football. Before I get cut off here, I do want to touch on baseball for a second because doggone it, we can. So the first thing I want to really focus here on is looking at the American League West. Houston, Texas, and Seattle are in an absolute dog fight for that division. As it stands, analytics have too many teams with a plus 50% chance to make the playoffs in the American League. Analytics say that the Twins are 99%, the O's are 100%, Rays are 100%, Houston 92%, Toronto 75%, Texas 73%, and Seattle 60%. One of those can't make it. So we're looking at this, and it's going to be a matter of who's going to miss Houston, Texas, Seattle, or Toronto if you're betting on it right now. TJ, I'm assuming you're taking the Astros to make it, but who are you betting to miss? The Rangers, the Mariners, or the Blue Jays?
So I'm going to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's going to be the Blue Jays that are going to miss. And I think the Mariners and the Texans are going to make it in by the hair on their chinny chin chins.
Okay.
All right. Max Scherzer may be out for the Rangers. It doesn't matter. They have a solid bullpen still behind them, and their offense is stellar.
They can match.
There is nothing that will stop that offense. And then come playoff time, I think they're all healthy, ready to go. That'll be the team.
Just lost TJ for a second. There it is.
Okay, so who do you think is TJ? Who do you think it's going to be Toronto that's going to be out?
Yeah, Toronto's going to be out.
Okay.
Aaron, what do you think?
Why don't you go to Brad? Go to Brad on this.
Okay, Brad, go ahead.
Man, it's so tough. I mean, that AL West is in fact a bloodbath right now.
Yeah,
it's actually really cool to see a division that's that tight. You could even argue that between Baltimore, Tampa, and Toronto was in there for a while in the AL East. To have two divisions that were almost like that this year, pretty cool. I gotta agree with TJ. I think the Blue Jays fall out. And especially when it comes down the road, their schedule is they finish out against two 3-game series against Tampa Bay. So that's 6 games against Tampa left and 3 against the Yankees. So I think they fall out.
Okay, fair take. Aaron, where'd you fall on that one?
I don't follow the AL as much as I follow the National League, for as much as I follow baseball. Period. But I'll have to say that after Brad mentioned the schedule, I didn't know what their schedule was like. I could probably see Toronto. I mean, there's a half game that separates those 3 teams. And then I think Tampa Bay is like 8.5 in front of all of them for the first wild card spot. So, which is just crazy to me. But Yeah, I think Toronto is going to be the odd man out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually going with the Rangers to miss. I look at this, and Seattle's been one of the best teams since mid-June. They started off terribly. They're playing great ball. Texas started hot, and they slowed up. Houston's playing with their minds right now. Toronto's just got enough there. I feel like even though those 6 games against the Rays are there, I just got a feeling I think the Rangers are going to just miss, and it might just cause another spending spree down there. Last question for me for the night before I go to our fun question, non-sports question. The NL wild card is a crazy race right now. Looking at it, we have the Phillies they're in. There's 2 wild card spots that are basically open. The Diamondbacks are plus a game and a half. The Cubs are even. This is as of earlier this afternoon. Look at the results tonight. But the Marlins are a half game out. The Reds are a game out, and the Giants are 3 games out with 2 spots to pick. Analytics tells us that the Diamondbacks are 78% chance of making the playoffs. The Cubs 52%. The Marlins 36%, and the Reds 32%. I guess, Brad, to start with you. What 2 between Chicago, Miami, and Cincinnati do you have making the playoffs?
Man, I'll tell you what, like being a Cubbies fan, I'm kind of salty that they've lost like 2 or 3 against the Rockies, losing 2 or 3 against the Pirates. It's like, come on, guys. Like that's, you're kind of dragging your tail across the finish line. I think that, as much as I don't want to say it, I think that Miami overall has been playing better down the stretch this past month. Really they've been kind of trading wins and losses for about the past 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think eventually Miami secures that last wild card spot, leaving the Cubs and the Reds out.
Okay. Aaron, what do you think?
See, now Miami so they have 3 games coming up against the Brewers. I don't know what Chicago's schedule is like here. I can't pull theirs up. But...
So Miami's got 3 at Milwaukee, 3 at the Mets, 3 at Pittsburgh. The Cubs are
the Rockies.
The Rockies at the Braves at the Brewers.
See, and I think, I'm going to say, first of all, I think the Reds are done. I think they, as much as I like them and there's the story of the Reds this season and the young team and everything, I think they lost, they got way too hot, way too early. And I think they're done. I think they realize that they're a young team. They have plenty of opportunities in the future, but right now they're done this year. I still think the Cubs might end up being that third team. I mean, Miami, it would be one thing if the Brewers had everything clinched up, but they still have to clinch the division, and they can do it
tomorrow.
Well, they could do it tomorrow. You're right, very easily. I mean, they could. Cubs lose and the Brewers win, and that's it. But I still, there's something about the Cubs. I know, Brad, you've got like that Chicago fan, feeling that, something's going to happen. And they're not.
I just don't. The Brewers have owned the Cubs this year. They've played poorly against the Rockies just not even a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And then you have the best team in the entire, in all of baseball squeezed in between there. But are the Braves resting people by then in order to gear up for the playoffs? I mean, that may be playing into the Cubs' advantage. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what you're going to have. But I'll still take the Cubs. I'll take the Cubs to take that last spot.
Okay. And then the Diamondbacks are still – you both think the Diamondbacks, I assume Diamondbacks, Cubs, or Diamondbacks, Marlins are the 2 takes so far? Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
TJ, what do you think?
I think the Cubs will make it in. And I think they'll eke it in, but I don't think anybody else is going to be knocking at that door behind them.
So the case for the Reds, not that this is my take, to be clear, 3 against the Pirates this weekend, 2 against the Guardians, and 3 against the Cardinals. I would say easily the easiest slate of all those teams remaining. You're looking at it. And the Reds are only a game back. The Giants haven't even put into that mix. The Giants are 3 games back. I think they're kind of done. Now, I'm going the Diamondbacks and Marlins making it. I think the Cubs are going to – I think the Brewers are going to take pride in knocking the Cubs out in that final weekend and just enjoying – even if we are setting stuff up, we're going to go out there and say, all right, we're going to beat you anyway. We'll set our rotation. We'll set our bullpen. but we're gonna take the Cubs out while we can. That's one pesky thing. And I will admit, I bought my tickets to the playoffs today. My wife might kill me, but I did buy some Brewers playoff tickets for. So we'll see what happens there.
There you go. There you go.
But
Nice.
no, I think look at this right now. It's a great time of year with baseball playoffs are coming. October is always great. You get college football full swing. You've got the high school gets going their full way. NFL is full speed. So it's great time here for all of us. But before we sign off here, guys, I want to ask my question of the day. And who wants to start, Ken? But first part of the question is, what is your go-to? Dad's making dinner. What am I making? And what was your dad's go-to meal when he was making dinner?
Oh man, my go-to dinner. So I'm making dinner for the family, or is like mom
Yes.
gone?
Sorry, yes, you're making dinner for the family, or mom's gone, whatever. But it's dad's job to make dinner. What are you doing?
I don't know, man. I make a lot of stuff.
Well, I'll go first, Brad. You can think about it, and TJ, you
Yeah.
can think about it too. I'll go first. First of all, my dad rarely cooked. When he did, it was either TV dinners or he did do a really mean fried egg sandwich.
Okay.
So that was usually like, hey, I'm not real hungry, but I need something to eat. Dad, can you whip something together? And he'd do that. It was fantastic. For me, there's something, I don't know if you guys ever had simple Salisbury steak. It's like it's with like cream of mushroom soup. And
Yeah.
you have, steak or hamburger, cream of mushroom soup, and then you put that over rice. It's fantastic. Right. That was like kind of my mom's specialty, and our kids love it. So if my wife lets me go in the kitchen, and I will say our first date where we didn't actually go out, but I went out to her house because I live with my parents, so she owned a house. So I went out to her house, and I was going to cook dinner for her, and I could tell she was sitting at the kitchen table, and we were talking, just small talk, and I could tell she was just really uncomfortable. And I kept asking her, "Where's this? Where's this?" And and finally she looked at me and goes, "You know what? Come sit down. I'll cook." I was like, "Okay, all right, cool. Whatever." And I mean, she's a fantastic cook, so I didn't have a problem with that. But that was after that, like she would never really let me go in the kitchen. So anyway,
TJ, what about you?
So I'm gonna say never really grew up with my father. I grew up more with my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
So his go-to was Texas jambalaya.
Nice.
And it was good jambalaya. I mean, it had some scrimps, chicken, and sausage in it.
Some scrimps.
Scrimps. With some jalapenos in there as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Dude, so good.
Yeah.
Nowadays, dude, I make something that we call cowboy kielbasa and potatoes.
Ooh,
okay.
Yeah.
And what we add in there is a little bit of a mixture of jalapenos, some onions, peppers. So we made it the other night. I had some extra venison sausage. So we put venison sausage in there. It was
that sounds delicious.
That is our go-to meal.
Nice.
All right, Brad, you got a minute? I would say, like, now that I've had a chance to reflect, that Dad always made these amazing nachos.
Okay.
That basically like the full sheet nachos. So he just put a whole bunch, and then he would load them up with all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't normally put on them. Like,
okay.
Well, I mean, not just like, especially as a kid, you're worried just about like chips and cheese.
Right.
But he put he'd layer like some refried beans on there, and then some taco meat, and then your cheese, and then he'd put some like black olives on. I mean, just really freaking doctor him up. So, yeah, I'd say like in the winter when we'd have football Sundays and have nachos out of the oven, yeah, that was fire.
Okay.
I'd say nowadays, like I love using my smoker, man. I would say like my smoked / grilled chicken wings are like my definitely, like, if I want to take care of the family, dude, they're fire.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a resident chef here as well, so I'm making most of the food anyway. But my dad is either going to be a stew or he loved making a pot roast. Like, you put a crock pot, put it in the crock pot. We go do chores with him or run errands for like forever. we come back and just you'd smell the whole house just smell like that, like beef broth, and you just sit down with a big warm meal. He'd put on, usually it's gonna be either Mary Poppins or Chitty Bang Bang, and watch us fall asleep on the couch while he's sitting here just eating his food as happy as he possibly be. But so I mean, I always enjoy going back in those little moments of nostalgia. And you'll enjoy those moments and think about that memory of dad, granddad, whomever. But be able to think about, I guess remind us as dads too. We're making memories for our kids too, right? Yep. You make those meals, and you never know what that kid's gonna remember when they're older. Saying, "Yeah, Dad used to throw this together for me." It's kind of a fun little spot to stop and think a little bit.
Yeah.
Funny thing you say, memories with kids making food. My daughter, the next time we have a show, I'll have to bring my daughter on here, and you have to ask her, what does chili have in it?
Okay.
I'm gonna leave you guys with that. There's something in.
You're gonna leave us with a cliffhanger. What's chili have in it?
Best not be noodles. Go ahead.
Oh no. Hey, right now, she is a Texan through and through.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
So when she says what is in chili, and there's something that's left out, everybody's going to have a conniption.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, we're past our time here anyway. But thanks for coming on tonight, and look forward to next week again. And go Pack, go!
All right, go Pack, go!
All right. See you guys.
See ya.